What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have China plus India, the biggest world power. How is the Western media reacting with China and India working together? I can't imagine the Western media would be too happy about this one. I think that the West really liked India and China kind of being at odds with each other, for the sake of the West don't really f with China. So I don't think the West is will be very happy about that. I am glad that India and China um, have come to an agreement with the border crisis, and will continue to work on more stuff together. Build that relationship up, because I honestly I didn't want to see these two countries go to war, anything to break out. So I think it's amazing. But yeah, I can't imagine the West will be happy about this one. But we got Carolina Kaswami talking to us, so let's just listen. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and if you would like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits.
India in details.
The world of geopolitics almost comes to a stop, and the global population watches in anticipation when these two giants, I repeat, these two giants, the leaders of two ancient civilizations, meet. Yes,
Facts.
that's India and China together. And
Facts.
these are real things. Enough geopolitical power and enough financial muscle to make anyone sweat, especially
Facts.
the Western colonial criminal states.
Facts.
But wait a second. What happens when you add Russia to this mix?
Ooh.
Well, that could be the West's absolute nightmare.
That would be the West's absolute nightmare. That would be scary. That would be absolutely scary. But one thing is, I'm not scared of India being in power, because I believe India being in power is a great thing for the world, because I feel like they would definitely want to help so many countries that have been voiceless for so long. They would want to. Would that take power away from the U.S.? Yes. But I think India would be a great leader in the world. So China and Russia make me sweat a little bit.
But before I talk about the collective strengths of these three countries, let's focus on how many around the world feel about the so-called Chindia. Of course, the US-led West has been attempting to use India to counterbalance China for its own survival. But just imagine what can happen when these two giants, India and China, resolve their disputes, ignore the Western neocolonial pressure, and use their strengths and work for global well-being. Well, the meeting between Modi and Xi Jinping in Russia is possibly a step in the right direction. But this meeting, in ways, has obviously ruined the plans or hopes of many in the West. The timing of this meeting couldn't be better, as recently countries like the USA, Canada and Germany have either interfered in India's sensitive internal affairs or have sheltered those elements that are considered India's enemies. The potential of India and China as a world power has always been there, but was never utilized.
Facts.
But, times are different, and that is why, if required, new strategies can be pursued. To start with, let's not forget that India and China are the two giants that are going to drive the economic growth of BRICS. That is why, within BRICS, the significance of I and C is crucial. Both China and India are expected to occupy the prime position as two great economies, in the same way that in the 19th and 20th century, Europe and the US were the main players. Today, both India and China are operating in a new environment with their massive capital and domestic markets. Yes.
Just population-wise, between the two countries, that's like 2.5 billion, somewhere around there, 2.2 to 2.5 billion people, somewhere like around there. That's just absolute insanity. But yeah, financially, you got it. Economically, you got it. Military strength, you got it. Yeah, these two countries, could they work together? Could they work? Could China work with India? Could China be willing to share that spotlight? Or would China want to be number one? have that number one spot? Is a real question I feel like you gotta ask yourself. Be interesting. Be interesting.
As far as the prospect of Chindia as a world power is concerned, it has been observed that Chindia may usher in a new world order, replacing the USA. And yes, the West fears this. Absolutely. Yeah. Take a look at this article in The Economist. What if China and India became friends? Referring to the two countries as Asia's biggest beasts, something that could trouble America and its allies. As clearly mentioned here, the border dispute between India and China is a matter of hope among American and allied officials. But what happens to the Western colonial criminal states' hope when Asia's oldest civilizations resolve their border dispute? As explained here, such a prospect may not please Americans and others who see India as a counterweight to China. But if India and China want to, they can write the fate of the Asian century and the world together.
Facts.
Both countries need and can benefit from each other. If India needs Chinese imports, then Chinese companies also see India as an important source of growth. And let's not forget that it has been predicted that Indian GDP will be second only to China's by 2075. There is no doubt that Chindia is powerful. Very powerful. If China is the world's largest lender, then India has been described as the fastest growing large economy with the largest youth population in the world. Yes, there have been differences and disputes between the two countries, but disputes can be resolved. If the West, after committing all the colonial crimes in India, hopes to see India as an ally, why can't China and India join hands too? Answer me.
That's a good point.
Has China killed millions of Indians through famines or colonization the way Western colonists did? Has China looted more than $45 trillion from India the way Western colonial criminal states did? Well, the answer is no. If the Western countries that fought against one another during the world wars and the wars between Christians of different denominations can still come together as friends and allies, why can't India and China get closer
they
too?
absolutely can.
Yes, India.
I think at the end of the day, they absolutely can. And at the end of the day, as a government, you look at it from a standpoint of what's going to be best for your people. Like, if there's a deal on the table that's going to be best for your people, you're going to take it. No matter the past, what crimes have been committed against each other in the past, if there's a deal on the table that benefits you and benefits your people, you're going to take the deal. It only makes sense to take the deal. So even if there's been a dark past, if working together means a better life for my people, it makes sense, then yeah. So I don't see why they couldn't work together if they both chose to. If they both chose to put their differences aside, yeah, I believe that they could.
And China have fought wars. Both sides have lost soldiers too. But that is not even remotely comparable to the millions of deaths that wars between the Western countries have caused within Europe. On the other hand, both India and China have been victims of the Western colonial criminal states. Both have faced humiliation by the West. Both have faced, and in ways are still facing, neo-colonial pressure from the West. Both are ancient civilizations, and India has been China's spiritual guru too. Of course, we cannot forget that in the dynamic world of geopolitics, new realities are constantly emerging and things can change accordingly. But for some time, China had been quite keen to improve its relations with India. It claims to be keen to create the Asian century. The Chinese state-affiliated media outlet has described India as one of the world's great nations, with a rich history of civilization that has endured for millennia. But if just the thought of rising Chindia can make the Western colonial criminal states so nervous, imagine what can happen if one adds Russia. And it's not merely a thought. The collective power of Russia, India and China, or the RIC Trilateral Forum, can't be ignored. When a Russian media outlet questions if these three are the most powerful men in the world, it probably wants to send a message. Want to know what that message could be? Then listen to this. Together, the Russia-India-China trio, or the RIC countries, cover a total landmass of nearly 30 million square kilometers.
Yeah.
It means that together, the RIC countries occupy over 19% of the global landmass. These countries are connected by land, from the Arctic to all the way to the Indian Ocean. And now consider this. These three countries contribute to over 33% of global GDP. And together, Russia, India and China are more than 38% of the entire world's population. Yes, more than 38% of humanity. Not only that, Russia and China are permanent members of the UN Security Council, while India aspires to be one. Collectively, the military power of the RIC is absolutely staggering.
It's crazy.
And don't forget that all three are nuclear powers, and all three have their own super advanced space agency. The strength and future of the Indian and the Chinese economies is well known, but just in case, if you are in two minds about the Russian economy, take a look at this. GDP in PPP terms. Take a look at where India, China and Russia are. See their collective financial muscle. It is quite clear why many in the West fear this. Yes, it all sounds promising for the RIC countries, but it seems that Indians want to be more cautious. Many Indians get very upset when the West gives its media platforms to those who have a track record of supporting separatism in India. On the other hand, many in India want to trust Russia. As an India-based channel that is supported by patriotic Indians, we know the importance of India-Russia relations. That is why many patriotic Indians were hurt when a prominent Russian website, geopolitica.ru, gave its platform to a Moscow-based author who wrote articles like these.
Dang. Yeah, these three countries definitely could shake up the entire game. You saw the GDP, you saw the population, you saw the area that they take up. These three countries working together. It's my days, my days, my days. That's all you can say. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all talk to me in the comment section. You guys think India could work together with Russia and China and I mean kind of just shake up the global power of things? Right now at the moment, I think India as a country has created so many amazing relationships all over the world, and now it's starting to fix its issues with China and has those great relations with Russia. And man, I think just when it comes to people like partnerships, India is literally everywhere creating the most amazing relationships, and I feel like India could just come out on top of everything, dog, in terms of rising economy, in terms of partnerships that they have. India friends with everybody. It's or becoming that way. Maybe not Canada, but they're becoming that way.
These articles can be considered extremely dangerous for India. Take a look. Remember, many in India see Russia as a friend. That is why, is it right to say that anyone who is Russia or Moscow-based and has supported Khalistan's or Kashmir's independence in the past should not be given platforms like RT, Sputnik International, and this? Yes, there are patriotic Indians who may expect the Moscow-based author to publish multiple videos to properly apologize for his past work. It must be noted that in recent years, the same Moscow-based author has started to say sweet things about India. But probably no amount of sweet talking can undo the irreversible damage that has been done to India by those articles. And let's not forget that those articles on geopolitica.ru have not been removed. They are still live, and they can potentially hurt India. It has been suggested that instead of those articles on the very same pages, a proper public video apology from that author can be considered. Let me make this clear. We have no personal animosity toward anyone. This is an India-based channel that is supported by patriotic Indians. My husband, who is Indian, and I run this channel, and we care about India and India's well-being. If provoked, again, patriotic Indians may consider making dedicated videos to highlight the Moscow-based author's past work properly. At India in Details, we don't want to remain stuck here. We would like to move on and fight the other challenges that India is facing.
I absolutely, Carolina Goswami don't play that, and I absolutely love that. She letting you know, hey, until them articles get taken down, don't come over here with that BS. Instead of them articles being up, how about you give an apology with that same energy and have that posted on the site? Carolina don't play.
Moving forward, India wants to be more careful in its approach. It doesn't want to see Pakistan in BRICS. India knows that China cannot be trusted blindly. But BRICS has not emerged as an alternative. It is much more than that. India's dynamic presence in BRICS and the sweeter welcome that Indians received in Russia can be seen as an answer to Canada and the West's recent provocations. The West has failed to isolate Putin. Isn't it a major geopolitical defeat for them? On the other hand, India is emerging as a peacemaker. BRICS
Yeah.
expansion seems natural. It's only going to make it more powerful as long as India's interests are not compromised. Besides that, de-dollarization and more solid steps in relation to that are expected. In a way, the West's condition seems quite pitiful. On the one hand, the West is unhappy that India, the world's largest democracy, is a part of BRICS. But then, on the other hand, it also seems happy that at least India does not want BRICS to develop into an explicitly anti-Western body. Not only that, the West fears that if India and China get closer, it can potentially drive a wedge between New Delhi and Washington. And at the same time, the Western countries want to save their own economies by doing business with India and China, while fearing that a former colony rising can eventually uncover the ugly neo-colonial designs that are hidden behind their fake, shiny image. The days of Western hegemony are disappearing, and if the conditions are right, India can be the bridge and even the peacemaker between the Western democracies and others.
I agree.
But if the West messes it up here, it can push India farther away, and in that process, the West may lose the golden opportunity to bring the geopolitical stability India wants to offer our fractured world.
I think India could be that bridge. India is definitely in a prime position to do so. Like I said, India's created partnerships all over the world with everybody, and so India, I feel like definitely could be that bridge to, I guess, fix all the issues going on that these countries got with each other. Let me know what you guys think about that video. I'm very interested in hearing y'all's thoughts. But that's all we got. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Check out the next one. I'll see y'all next time.